This year's celebrations come as a new survey has found a decline in Canadian pride. More than a third of Canadians say they feel less proud to be Canadian than they did 5 years ago. Canadians were also asked if they agree with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre that, quote, Canada is broken. 70% of them say they strongly or somewhat agree. Agreement is higher among younger Canadians. And joining us to discuss this further is Darrell Bricker, Global CEO of Ipsos Public Affairs. Darrell, thank you for being here. This survey is showing 70% of Canadians think Canada is broken. What is your reaction to this number?
Sad. My basic reaction is sadness. When I went through the numbers that we got on this survey, I was really concerned about our future and how Canadians are feeling about our country, especially younger Canadians, where 78% describe Canada as broken.
Now, discontent seems to be a growing national sentiment. Any indication on where this is stemming from?
Well, I think there's two things. One, people are really feeling it difficult to get by these days. They're having a very hard time getting by. And the promise of Canada in terms of our prosperity and security, at least what we thought we were told about the country we're living in, is feeling further and further away for Canadians. And then I think the second thing is really a whole bunch of things that have happened over the space of the last several years in which our political leaders have not really celebrated Canada, not really told us why we should be proud of our Canadian heritage. We get a lot of apologies. We get a lot of other things coming out of our political leaders, but not a lot of pride. And I think both things are coming together to cause a problem.
Now, are these numbers directly or indirectly linked to Justin Trudeau's leadership capabilities?
Well, I think that the Trudeau government is in a uniquely difficult position, but it would be going too far to blame them for all of this. Political leaders at all levels in our cities, our municipalities, in our regions, and our provinces in our country need to take the issue of Canadian pride, and I don't mean jingoistic pride, but just a sense of belonging together and a real sense that we're doing things well in this country. They need to take nurturing that more seriously. And I think we've been kind of cavalier and capricious about it over the space, particularly the last decade.
Is there any indication with this on what kind of changes Canadians want to see?
Well, no, we didn't really get into that, but I think that, we've seen things that work in the past. When Canadians get together and celebrate what it is to be Canadian, and your broadcast today is a great example of this, coming from Parliament Hill and looking at the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. This is something to celebrate. Not something to look back and say, the Canadian Air Force was involved in wars and there's some difficult things that happened, some reckonings that we have to go through with the past. Yes, there's that, but there's also the other part, which is the pride of Canada coming together to create that Air Force. That's the part that seems to be missing in a lot of our conversations today.
All right. Thank you for your time, Darrell. Darrell Bricker, Global CEO with Ipsos Public Affairs.